All right. So I'm glad that you guys have joined us. I'm sure that we will get more people joining us here in a minute. Before we start talking about 12th night, do you have any questions that you need answers? No questions? You guys know everything? If you have a question, you can turn your mic on.
So you were saying that like we need to take the essay or whatever, and like as long as we submit it by like today, we can like resubmit it or revise it or whatever. So does it have
Yes.
to be finished today?
Well,
Like,
that
do we have to
would
have all of the
be.
paragraphs, or like could I be like halfway done, submit it, and then like revise it?
Yeah, the only problem is I'm only giving you one revision. So if you only give me half your essay,
Oh.
I can only make suggestions on what you give me. So, yes, that's a
Oh,
loophole.
okay. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's a good loophole, except for the fact that I won't be able to let you revise it a second time. So you'll need to, yeah, whenever you want me to give you feedback on, you better turn it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
A couple
Thanks.
more joining us. All right. Good question, though, Noah. Any other questions? All right. Perfect. It's fun to see your whole entire faces. I love it. At the end of our class, oh, we got more people joining. At the end of the class today, though, I'm going to have you all turn off your video because I found out when I screenshotted our class on Wednesday, once I screenshot your picture of your face, your name goes away. And I don't know what some of you look like without a mask. It's kind of a weird thing. So at the end of class, I'm going to have people turn off their videos and I'll take a picture of your names. But for now, I would love to see your faces. And Miss Price has also asked that we screenshot our Zoom classes, and they're going to have a special section in the yearbook so that we can see all of our Zoom activities. So, oh, and we've got Mason's puppy. Oh, she's so big. And her ears are both up. I love it. That's so cute. Oh, so cute. Okay.
She also just tried to bite my throat.
Oh, well, that's probably not a good thing. In fact, this morning I was telling my 11-year-old, teach the dog you are not the toy, because that can be a problem when they get giant. Oh, she's so cute. Okay, let's see.
To rip my glasses off my face. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good thing either. That's the rule at our house. You are not the toy. You have the toy. You are not the toy. Okay. Spencer has a question. Spencer, turn your mic on and ask us your question. No, that's just Jackson telling us you have a question. Fine. No question, Spencer. Are you in your basement, Spencer? We can see your ceiling, all your pipes. Awesome. Okay. Let's just make sure no one else needs to be let in. Okay, a couple things.
That's why it wasn't working.
Oh,
sorry.
Who said that?
So when are we gonna start reading the 12th night?
This Spencer
story thing.
We are starting it today. We might have started it already, but we're going to talk about 12th night today. And so let's just go ahead and get started. All right. Let me get to our screen. Let's see. So I don't know who the kid that was already. You'll have to email me and tell me who you are. And let's see the second page. Oh, everybody else has their beautiful name. Okay. Love it. Let's do this and this, and let's take a look at our assignments real quick while we are starting. So you should have your biography, timeline, and essay turned in tonight by midnight. And then I've been reading the ones that have been submitted so that I can give you feedback really quickly and you can get working on that revision. And then It's taking the place of a final test, but it is going to be in the assessment category, so it's still worth a lot of points. So you're going to want to make sure that you get it in by tonight so you can do that revision for a higher score. And then if you get it in by tonight, I will try and get those all graded by this weekend so that you'll have all of next week to work on the revisions. And then the final one needs to be resubmitted by 3 o'clock on the 16th, because that's when the actual quarter ends. All right. On our homepage, some of you have already started this journal, the Shakespearean Insults. It's a lot of fun. Hope you've enjoyed doing that one. A lot of you have also worked on the Introduction to Shakespeare, which is a PowerPoint. I've put a link here for the book. It's the same book that we're using in class. The only difference is that the beginning of each scene in the book, it gives you a nice scene summary and some words to help you know what the words mean and how they're used in the context. So let's see, hold on, I got a couple more people wanting to come in. Okay, there we go. So I have put these pages, in case you weren't at school and you couldn't check out a book from our library, I have put these pages as screenshots with links to this in the assignment 12th Night, Act 1, Scene 1 through 5. So if you don't have the actual book, you can find those here. All right. The journal today is themes, and I've seen a couple of people start on it. I want to talk about themes today so that you have a better idea of what to write about. And then this is your assignment that starts today also. It is due, let's see when it's due, and let's talk about it a little bit. And Isabella's still wearing her mask. Then I can't see her whole face, Isabella. Oh, there she is. It's so fun to see your whole faces. Okay, so when you click on this assignment, my internet's going slow because I have like 3 other family members using it today. But when you click on this assignment, I've also added this clip of a rendition of the play. It's kind of a fun one. And it's set, the costuming is set more in the like 1920s, 30s era. But it's still all the same words. And that's why Shakespeare is so awesome, because he transcends all time. He is timeless. So we love him. All right. So you're going, I put the assignment here. Here are the questions that you're going to answer. So you can read along and watch this, or you can read and then watch, or watch and then read, however you need to do it in order to be able to answer these questions. Does that make sense? And I've put the time here. It won't automatically stop at the right spot, but it should start at the right spot. And so I've put the times for you to end on there as well. Okay, let's talk about the themes and characters, maybe. All right, everyone can see my screen, right? Yes? Okay, awesome. All right, 12th night, we're gonna talk about themes, characters, and a little bit about the story. Now with Shakespeare, there's no such thing as a spoiler, because with Shakespeare, you need to know what the story's about so that when you're reading the language, you understand what's happening. So I am going to be telling you a lot about the plot, but I'm not gonna tell you everything. Don't worry, I won't give you too many spoilers, but it is good to know the basic outline of the plot of the play so that you can understand it when you're reading the language of the play. Okay, so first thing are the characters. There are some very fun characters. This is not all of the characters, but these are the main cast of characters. Our main characters, you could say, are Viola and Sebastian. That's who this play is centered around. Oh, I need to go back a little bit. The title of the play, Twelfth Night. So in England, in Shakespeare's time, they had a time before and during Christmas called Twelfth Night. We do the 12 days of Christmas, right? So they had a time period of 12 days that they would call the 12th night, 12 days of Christmas. And during this time, it was a big celebration, and people would dress in costumes, and they would have huge parties, and they would just enjoy all the festivities of the Christmas season. Shakespeare decided to write a play that was crazy and fun and wild to entertain people during this time of, 12th night. So the title of the play is 12th Night, but it has an additional title called What You Will. We usually just call it 12th Night, but Shakespeare gave it 2 titles because he wanted to say, this is a play that will be fun during 12th night, but it's also called What You Will. All right, so our characters. So Viola and Sebastian are twins. And for some reason, we have no idea, they have left wherever they live, which we never find out the name of where they live. They've left that. And they've gotten on a ship and they're sailing somewhere over the ocean. We don't know where they're supposed to be going, where they've come from, but that doesn't really matter because it's a Shakespeare play and it's all about the characters. So Viola and Sebastian are on a ship and they encounter a big storm and their ship is torn to pieces. And Viola washes up on the shore with the captain of the ship. And that's where the play starts. And she's very, very upset. Not only has she survived this horrible storm and shipwreck, but she can't find her brother and she is sure that he has died. The captain, however, is not so sure. He says, last time I saw him, he was clinging to a piece of, whatever in the middle of the ocean. So he might have survived. He tries to give her some hope that he survived. And spoiler, he did. So Viola decides she's so worried and so upset about the loss of her brother that she needs to figure out what to do in this new land. And the name of the land is Illyria. It's a fictional place. So she says, well, we're in this new place. I need to have a job. I need to take care of myself. I need to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing now that my brother is drowned. And she decides that the best way to do that would be to dress as a boy and to work for the Duke of Illyria named Orsino. Now, her biggest goal is to work for Olivia because Olivia seems like a really great lady and she's a wealthy woman. And so she's like, oh, I would really love to work for Olivia, but for some reason she can't. I don't know. So she dresses as a boy and she gets a job in the home of Orsino. And Orsino is in love with Olivia. But Olivia, her father has died and now her brother has died. And she is super, super, super sad. And she's so sad that she has decided she is not going to see any men for 7 years. And she's going to lock herself in her room and cry for 7 years. She's just done with all of that. So Orsino is very sad because he wants to be able to see Olivia and profess his love to her, but she won't let him in. And so he decides that Viola, who is called Cesario because she's dressed as a boy, and so her name is now Cesaria. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Okay, he tells Cesario, hey, you're a young man. I bet she'll let you in and you can go and talk to her and profess my undying love to her. And so Cesario, Viola, goes to Olivia and does so. Olivia is a wealthy woman. She has some people in her house that are important. She has Maria, who is her lady in waiting, like her head maid. Her uncle, although sometimes she calls him her cousin, but Sir Toby Belch, yes, and it is an appropriate name because he loves to drink and party. And so Sir Toby Belch is her uncle, and he has a best friend named Malvolio. No, sorry. Oh, not Malvolio. There they are. Okay. He has a best friend named Sir Andrew Aguecheek. And Sir Toby Belch has decided that it would be awesome if his best friend were to marry Olivia, because then the money would stay in the family, basically. And so he has convinced Sir Aguecheek that Olivia will love him. And so he has come to visit and woo her, because that's what they did in Shakespeare's time. They woo each other. All right. And then in Olivia's household, she has Malvolio, who is the head butler, who also falls in love with Olivia at a moment of time. And then we have Feste. Oops. He is the clown. He is the jokester. However, we find out during the play that he actually knows more than the characters know. And he's actually quite wise. And so that's an interesting dynamic of the play, is that Feste, he appears to be the clown and the comic relief, when in actuality, he's probably the smartest person in the entire play. All right, so then we're here with Sebastian. Act 3, we get to meet Sebastian and his buddy Antonio. And Sebastian is alive. He also thinks his sister has died, which is very, very sad. And he's trying to figure out how to live in this place called Illyria as well. Okay, so here is the overview of the plot of the play. I'm trying to move all of you down here. Okay, here's the play in 3 panels. Viola dresses up as her drowned twin brother. Viola is enmeshed in a really awkward love triangle. Viola's twin brother is not drowned, and everyone is happy. There's the play. That's the whole plot of the play, with a whole bunch of crazy other stuff thrown in. All right, so one thing that you're going to have to think about as you're reading this play is these themes. And there's quite a few themes in the play, and a lot of the characters are, it's very meaningful for them to be able to, oh, look, I can put you guys really small. Okay. It's very meaningful for you to know these and how the characters portray these themes, because that's something that's going to be asked of you after each act. You're going to choose a character and determine how that character exhibits one or more of the themes. So let's just talk about these really quickly. The first theme is melancholy, and melancholy is a word that Shakespearean era people would throw around a lot. It's a deep, deep sadness. It's a depression. It's a hopelessness. And in the play, there are many characters that are melancholy, either because of the loss of the loved one, or because someone doesn't love them back, or because they're in love with someone. And sometimes being in love with someone can make you overwhelmingly sad because they don't love you back. So melancholy is a huge theme. Then we have foolishness and madness. We have a lot of people who are acting crazy and one who kind of goes crazy. So characters may be driven to madness by other characters or the circumstances that they find themselves in. So foolishness and madness is all about not really being in touch with reality in the play. One of the biggest themes, and one that I really love, and one of the reasons I teach this play, is because of the theme of identity. Because this is something that we are dealing with now, just like they were dealing with in the 1600s. All of these characters are trying to figure out 3 things: who they are, who they want to be friends with, and what their future holds. And isn't that kind of what we're trying to figure out in our lives as well? Who are we? Who do we want to be friends with? Who do we want to hang out with, right? What influences do we want to let into our lives? And what's the future going to hold? And so all of these characters are trying to figure out their identity. Hope and hopelessness is an interesting theme. It becomes a personality trait because, take for instance our 2 women characters, Viola and Olivia. Both of them have experienced loss. They're both sad because their brothers have died, and they handle it in very different ways. And that becomes part of who they are and their personality. Desire and love. This is a huge one because there's lots of love going on. There's love triangles, love circles, love spirals. Like there's so much crazy love happening and not happening throughout the whole play. Love is everywhere, and sometimes in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person. So love and desire is a huge theme of the play. Deception and disguise. This is a theme that Shakespeare uses in almost every single play he writes. And something that he requires of his audience is something called suspended disbelief. Suspended disbelief is what happens when we're watching a movie or we're watching a show and things don't really add up, but we're just enjoying the show. So it doesn't really matter where the flashlight came from or, why this extra character has all of a sudden shown up. It's okay. It doesn't matter. And with Shakespeare, he wanted us to suspend our belief in in the power of disguise a lot, deception and disguise. So we have to remember, as we are watching Shakespeare or reading Shakespeare, that if he says that a person cannot be recognized because they have a mask on their face, which we kind of can relate to now, but if we can't recognize someone because of a mask covering their face, of course the characters on stage will not recognize them. If Viola is dressed as a boy and changed her name to Cesario, of course everyone on stage is going to believe she is a boy. It just is, right? So you don't question it, you just believe it and you go with it and you have fun with it. So also another part that you're going to see is if characters decide to play a practical joke on another character, it's going to work. He's going to fall for it because otherwise it wouldn't be a fun story. So we have to really suspend our disbelief and recognize that the deception and the disguises that are being portrayed on stage are believable and that our characters are believing it. Okay, that was a whole lot of information about the play and the plot and the characters and the themes. So our